the CEO of the Mater Misericordia University Hospital. The development of the Oliver Brady genome sequencing facility at the Mater Misericordia University Hospital is a significant step forward in the area of personalised medicine. Medicine has evolved over centuries, but to a large degree has been based on a law of averages. Whilst this has served well, this laboratory at the Mater presents the capability to evaluate the personal molecular attributes of the patient. This capability will enable medicine to be practiced with a greater degree of precision and ultimately provide better outcomes for the patient. The Mater Misericordia University Hospital is a major teaching institute, partnered predominantly with UCD. The exciting opportunities in medicine and scientific study that this genome sequencing facility presents are great and will expose many Irish academics and students to world-class diagnostic capability. Through this donation, the Shabra Foundation and Oliver Brady will effect significant change to Irish patients for years to come. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Professor Peter O'Gorman. I'm the Director of the Next Generation Sequencing Lab here at the Mater Hospital. We focus on a very new form of genetic testing called next generation sequencing. As you will hear from the other specialists, this is relevant now across every disease that we treat. Our commitment here at the Mater is to provide a service that will allow genetic analysis in multiple different specialties across neurology, cancer specialties, and many other areas, including cardiology. What we're doing is developing a precision medicine approach which allows us to identify an abnormal mutation that is driving the disease and causing the disease. This will be relevant to the patient, but also potentially to future generations in that family. And therefore, what we're doing here is going to have impact across the generations, future generations in Ireland. We're very grateful to the support of Shabra and also to another philanthropist who doesn't want to be named that have allowed us to equip the lab. The hospital have committed to partnering up with us to provide this service. This is very important for Irish patients and will allow us to repatriate testing that's currently being tested abroad and bring it back home, and then bring it together on the same campus as the top quality specialists that we have, and thereby to deliver a service that's going to really change the way medicine is practiced in Ireland and hopefully also will make a global impact. Thank you for your support.
My name is Michaela Higgins. I'm a medical oncologist here in the Mater Hospital. Thanks to the funding from the Shabra Foundation, we're developing the Next Gen Sequencing Lab here at the Mater. I look after patients with cancer. Using information we get from sequencing a patient with cancer, we're able to identify mutations and then apply that information to their asymptomatic family members. By doing this, you can identify a weakness or a mutation in a family member which may predispose them to form other cancers. You can then do selective screening on those patients and prevent them from developing cancer at all. And so, using next-gen sequencing from our cancer patients, we're going to be able to prevent cancers in other family members. This is extremely important work and we're very grateful to our donors. Thank you very much.
My name is Pádraig McMahon. I'm a consultant gastroenterologist in the Mater Misericordia University Hospital. Colorectal cancer is a common cancer in Ireland. It occurs in about 2,000 people a year, but actually about 1,000 people die every year. And many of those individuals are dying because they've inherited a gene from their forefathers that have made them, or at least given them the risk to develop the cancer. We're now in a position, compared to years ago, where we can actually test families to see whether they have this gene and select out people that can be treated so this disease can be prevented. So familial colorectal cancer is a big problem in Ireland. We're now in a position where we can make a difference. I think the Shabra charities have made a great contribution to developing the lab here in the Mater, and with the further development of our genomic lab, together with all the clinicians that are interested, I think we can make a real difference to young Irish people now and future generations in preventing this disease once and for all. Thank you for your help. We really need it.
Hello, I'm Gregory Pastores, clinical professor in medicine with a special interest in genetics with the University College Dublin in Ireland, and also a consultant for the National Centre for Inherited Diseases in Children, specializing in adult metabolic diseases. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Shabra Foundation for helping advance efforts in making genetic testing available to patients in Ireland. Genetic testing and ultimately making a diagnosis through analysis of genetic information in individuals and their relatives is critical in the approach to diagnosis. It hopefully will minimize the delay in diagnosis or the diagnostic odyssey that patients and their loved ones are often put through. It also will help minimize when it is undertaken at an earlier stage in the evaluation of patients, hopefully obviating the need for tests such as biopsies that then become of secondary importance. Thank you.
My name is Eileen Tracy. I'm currently the clinical lead for the clinical program for rare diseases. So we are very excited about this development at the Mater Hospital funded by Shabra. Approximately 7,000 rare diseases. They affect at least 6% of the population in Ireland, so perhaps 1 in 50 individuals would have a genetic rare disease. And there's a tremendous delay in diagnosis. We hear about the diagnostic odyssey for these individuals, where it may take many years to get a diagnosis. And these rare diseases contribute to huge morbidity and mortality. So obtaining a rapid diagnosis using next generation sequencing technologies would be a wonderful opportunity to enhance the diagnosis and provide personalized medicine approaches for these patients, not only for children, but for an increasing number of adult patients. So we really welcome this opportunity established at the Mater Hospital. Thank you.
I'm Maria Fitzgibbon. I'm consultant clinical biochemist at the Mater University Hospital and associate professor in the School of Medicine in UCD. My aim in diagnostics is to improve the patient's pathway, and where there are biochemical abnormalities down to a gene defect, I would now like to investigate more of the genetic context of disease in several areas, including patients with lipid disorders, where potential smoking guns and atherosclerosis are the cause of high mortality in our population. Additionally, I would like to see more biochemical scientists trained in the genetic sequencing, and this laboratory will afford us the opportunity to train these expert scientists from our mainstream universities. I cannot thank you enough for all the efforts that Shabra have made in helping us to achieve these goals, and we will work tirelessly with you so that to improve patient diagnostics. Thank you.
My name is Shane Smith. I'm a consultant neurologist in the Mater Hospital in Dublin with a special interest in neuromuscular disorders. And to have a lab with next generation sequencing on site will be a huge benefit to patients with inherited nerve and muscle disorders, given a timely diagnosis, which means a lot to patients and to doctors, helps inform treatment and prognosis, not just for neuromuscular disorders, but for neurological conditions right across the board, particularly neurodegenerative and movement disorders. And so this lab will really make a tangible difference to neurological care in the Mater Hospital. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sean Gain, Professor Sean Gain. I'm a lung specialist in the Mater Hospital, and I'm really keen to talk to you about the important role that genetics can play in lung diseases. Many of you will already know about genetics in lung disease when it comes to things like cystic fibrosis, but what you may not know is that things as simple as allergy, asthma, COPD, emphysema, lung fibrosis, all of these diseases are also associated with genetic characteristics that are really important. The Mater also houses the National Pulmonary Hypertension Unit, which is the centre for all people in Ireland who have this disease. About 20% of people who have pulmonary hypertension have it, and it runs in their family. Being able to diagnose diseases earlier with the use of genetics is going to be vitally important in the years ahead. We know that it can help us to prognosticate. Sometimes a genetic defect can be a good prognosis. Sometimes, however, unfortunately, it can predict a worse outcome from a disease, and we need to pick up on it earlier. It also helps us to direct treatment. Treatment can be different depending on what type of disease the person has. It might look really simple on the surface, but when you know the genetics of the disease, it might change the way that you approach things. So having a better understanding of the genetics, being able to teach new generations of doctors about genetics, and being able to tailor our treatments to patients with diseases that we could never do in the past is the great hope of this new genome sequencing unit in the Mater Hospital. So really would look forward to getting your support and to move this project along as quickly as we can. Thank you.
My name is Agnieszka Blum. I'm a consultant hematologist and I'm the NGS lab lead. This is a fabulous facility in which we will develop the NGS genetic testing for Ireland. It is not only about you, but it's about developing the test for your children and children of your children. So please help us to do that. Thank you.
My name is Joe Galvin. I'm a cardiologist here in the Mater Hospital, and I was involved in setting up an inherited cardiac conditions clinic some 10 years ago. Our particular interest is SADS, or sudden cardiac death, particularly affecting young people. We've now seen some 1,600 families over the last 10 years who have been affected by sudden cardiac death or an inherited cardiac condition that can cause sudden cardiac death. And we've been able to identify in these families, in some 40% of these families, the underlying culprit condition responsible for the loss of their loved one. This is crucially important, not just for immediate family members in identifying who else is affected, but in identifying members of the family in future generations who are affected by the same condition. We can then assess these family members, and give them the protection that they need, either through medications or through implantable cardiac defibrillators, to prevent them from also dying suddenly and unexpectedly. The missing link in our assessment of these families has been gene sequencing. We've had to send blood samples or tissue samples on family members and on deceased family members out of the country, either to the United Kingdom, Spain, Netherlands or Italy for gene sequencing. Because unlike other European countries, Ireland does not do its own gene sequencing within the country. At the Mater, we're hoping to change that. Here in our new gene sequencing lab, which Shabra charity has helped fund and support, we are setting up a centre of excellence, a state-of-the-art gene sequencing centre that will allow us to identify the gene mutations responsible for inherited cardiac and other conditions here in Ireland. And for the first time, create a library, a database of the genetic abnormalities in our country that cause inherited conditions here. And we'll be able to protect our citizens into future generations through what we discover in our families here. I'd like to thank Shabra Charity for their extraordinary help and support in setting up the program here with their seed funding. Without it, this would be completely impossible. Thank you very much.
My name is David Keegan. I'm a consultant ophthalmologist and retina specialist at the Mater Hospital. Good afternoon. I hope you're all enjoying your day. I wish to take this opportunity to thank Rita Shah and the whole team at Shabra for the incredible and unwavering support they've shown to the ophthalmology department of the Mater Hospital historically, and more recently towards the development of the Genomics Centre at the Mater University Hospital. This was one we thought might be one step too far, but for those of us who thought that, massively underestimated Rita Shah and her commitment to honour Oliver Brady's memory and legacy to the building of a genomic centre at the Mater. Rita's asked me to share with you what this means for patients with eye disease in this country and indeed many other disorders. I feel very strongly that genomic medicine is this generation's magnetic resonance imaging or MRI scanners. We wouldn't conceive of investigating anybody for an internal issue without an MRI scan. And similarly, so many conditions that our patients, both young and old, suffer with have a genetic basis. To accurately diagnose and thus treat these patients, we need to have accurate genomic testing. And the first step to this is the building of a dedicated genomic centre that's clinically accredited here in this country. We have a massive shortfall in services for genetic testing here in Ireland, both at the testing level, analysis and interpretation. This is an important step towards developing that expertise at home rather than outsourcing to other countries as we've had to do, such as Spain, the UK, the United States and other parts of the world. When we look at patients with eye problems, many of them are treatable. In fact, 75% of eye disease that's blinding is currently treatable, and we're putting processes and programs in place to deal with those. But that's 25% that are untreatable, and a lot of those conditions have a genetic basis. We're now able to accurately diagnose these patients and implement therapies for them. Many of these therapies are still in the experimental stage, but they'll become mainstream in the next 5 to 7 years. That'll have massive implications for the patients themselves, but more importantly for their children. This centre will go a long way to eradicating previously untreatable eye disease. Thank you very much for your help and assistance. I hope you enjoy the rest of the afternoon. And Rita, thank you from our hearts.
Hello, my name is Tony Ward, and 25 years ago I was diagnosed with a genetically inherited condition that causes blindness. At the time there was a lot of money being invested in research but very little prospect of any treatment or cure. Since then, especially in the last 5 years, the whole area of genetics and genetic sequencing has come on the table, and the fact that the Mater Hospital is now on the cusp of having a gene sequencing machine, to me, thinking back all those years, is absolutely amazing. So it's going to make such an enormous difference. I want to really thank everyone at Shabra Charity Foundation and the people who have supported them for all the money that they've raised so far, and to ask everyone to dig deeply and try and get this project across the line, because there's not far to go in terms of fundraising, and it is going to make an enormous difference for everyone affected by a genetic condition.